Ka-chow!
This video was filmed on both sides of the car, so it bounces around a little bit, but the concept is the same on both sides. Start by spraying everything with PB Blaster. Then removing the two 14mm flange bolts on the lower control arm, the sway bar end link, and the two 14mm flange nuts on top of the damper inside the trunk behind the carpet. Depending on if your end link is an aftermarket one or not, it should have an Allen key in the center so you can remove the nut despite the joint moving. This Allen key is 5mm and the nut is a 14mm. If you're planning on replacing the end link, you can clamp onto the joint with the vice grips to stop spinning while removing the nut. Those are also 14s. Give the lower control arm a love tap. Just be careful because you don't want to damage it. Then remove the damper. To install the damper, make sure the spring stop faces toward you, not inward. The strut tower is very heavy, and I was completing this job by myself, so I had to figure out a way to make the shock stay up high enough to start the upper nuts. On one side, the lower control arm bushing had enough left in it to hold the damper. However, on the other side, I had to use the handle of my hammer, which gave me just enough extra to get the top of the nuts started. Then tighten the top flange nuts to hand tight and back them off a turn so they're loose enough to have wiggle room while you put in the lower control arm bolts. Loosely install the damper bolt and the new nut that came with it, and loosely install the sway bar end link. Now you're going to use a jack to bring the lower control arm to meet the trailing arm. You'll want both the lower control arm and the trailing arm to be pretty straight in order for the flange bolt to go in. Remember to check the alignment on both sides of the lower control arm bushing. You can use a rubber hammer to help gently tap the rear hub unit into alignment. Once you have one side of the bolt started, make sure both sides of the bushing are in alignment. You can see the tip of the bolt here. Gently tapping the bolt with a rubber hammer will help it be able to start threading. While keeping the load on the suspension, with the jack still under the lower control arm, torque the two lower flange bolts to 40 foot-pounds. The sway bar end link gets torqued to 16 foot-pounds, and I will be replacing my end links in a separate video. Here you can see how raised the suspension is to create the correct alignment and also to put load on the suspension while torquing the bolts. There you go. Last, the two upper flange bolts get torqued to 36 foot-pounds. You can compare the two sides of this car to see the before and after in ride height. Your struts, shocks, or dampers should be replaced in pairs, and once they've been replaced, you've literally changed the ride height of the vehicle, so make sure you go get an alignment.
Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe below so we can help other people find this video. I offer automotive education and consulting, so if you need help completing this job, my contact information is in the description below.